Well, as I always say, Mondays are the most boring days starting the week. But, however, I tend to keep your Mondays fun and exciting. As you know, we continue with more with New Japan Pro Wrestling with day 11 of World Tag League, focusing only on A block matches. But, however, certain teams have now been officially eliminated out of the tournament. So far, so good. We are almost close to the conclusion who will walk out on the winners from either both A and B block, but also to the finals. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing, of course, three back to back events from Yoshi Promotion Marvelous from three different events, one in Osaka, the other in Kariya, and the other in Shinkiba. So there's a lot of good matches we definitely going to be going over from A to Z. And then, of course, we have some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. It's time to, of course, turn the power back on and let's begin with our very first review. And this is, of course, from Marvelous in Osaka on, of course, November 9th. Okay, Marvelous. It's been a while since I did it, but thank God we're going to do all of them since I missed out on the entirety of this throughout the entire month of November, but we're getting through it. Now, this one took place on earlier this month on the 9th of November in Osaka. Now, we did have talent coming from international and, of course, wrestlers from West Coast Pro as well. Now, our first match, we have Senka Akatsuki. Many of you may or may not know who she is. She is a brand new trainee who's just appeared. However, she's been having her first earlier matches, and this is one of them. She faces against Chikayo Nagashima. Now, of course, you expect a lot of high expectations to see what she can do. I mean, she was able to hold her own, but unfortunately, that didn't do any well for her because she ended up in a submission by Chikayo, and just like that, it was over. Our next match, we have a three-way. We have Maria versus Izuki Aoki versus, of course, Takumi Iroha. Now, of course, I don't need to remind people how these three ways goes. It could go either way. All these girls are strong, but I think some of you would possibly think in the back of your minds just by watching this match or hearing it, you would think Takumi Iroha probably would win since she is the ace of Marvelous. And I'm not denying that because it is awfully true. But however, that wasn't the case. There were some moments where, of course, alliances and then short-lived types, that sort of thing. But however, it was, of course, Aoki who pinned Takumi, which is a major upset. I mean, she could get in a conversation for a future title shot for the AEW Championship. So that is something she could initially challenge for in the future. So we will see where she goes. Our next match, we have a very interesting. We have a men's exhibition tag team match. We have um, the Ecstatic Crippler, Kevin Blackwood, and of course Vinny Masario. They take on the current West Coast Pro Tag Team Champions, Crush Boys, Titus Alexander and Starboy Charlie. So, yep, basically you see them doing their thing. However, I think many people would say that Crush Boys are the fan favorites in this match because, of course, Shigusa Nagaya, who gave them who gave the blessing that let them use the name Crush Boys because of her old tag team partner known as Crush Gals. So that would probably play out. And of course, it was Starboy Charlie with the shooting star press onto Vinny, and just like that, they picked up the win. Now, our main event, we have a bit of a Japan versus international styles. We have representing Japan, we have Aohausen, Riko Kawahara, and Miyu Momono. They take on the international team consistent of Jesse Jackson of the UK, High End from here in the States, and of course, finally, Sadie Gibbs of the US. Now, of course, many people would think that Japan is the homegrown, they would definitely win their match. Obviously, that is something we could expect. I mean, anything could have happened in this match. I wasn't too sure. I do see Miyu Momono, who has carried the flag before when she was AEW champion, but however, that wasn't the case because apparently she ended up in a somewhat version of Jaded from what Jade Cargill did, but at high end, and just like that, it was over. Now, I don't know what happened in the post match. Uh, it seems that Riko Kahawa and Jesse are somehow building up a relationship. I'm not sure exactly what, but we'll see what happens down the line. So for now, we are done with this particular day with Marvelous. So let's move on the next one with them on November 10th. Okay, Marvelous in Korea. This took place on the 10th of November. Now, I apologize for those. I did not have like a bit of a poster that they have for that particular day. So I apologize for that. So let's just keep moving so you guys can get a better idea. On our first match, we have, of course, once again, the trainee, the rookie, Senka Akatsuki, taking on Izuki Aoki. Now, of course, many of you would think in this particular match that Akatsuki would definitely be taking another loss. I mean, it's no secret that we've seen wrestlers that make their debuts. They'll definitely take losses until they grow up significantly. We saw that with AI Housen before, but she's already grown up. But however, she has to take on Asuki Aoki because she is a very energetic and a bit of a bratish type of person. But however, she did walk away with the win when she applied a diving body splash. Just like that, it was over. Our next match, this is one of two X Men's exhibition match. We have Takaya Shibayama taking on, of course, Vinny Masario. Yep. So basically, it was a pretty good match. I'm not gonna lie, there were some good moments. I didn't know what to expect, but Vinny did show out who he is and all that. But he took out Shibayama with, of course, a discus forearm right into the head, and just like that, he was out completely. So he walked away with the win. Our next match, we have another a women's three-way match. We have Eihausen versus Maria versus Sadie Gibbs. So this is going to be a very interesting match. Now, of course, I think many people would think that Sadie Gibbs is the common threat since she is international, which is no secret. I mean, we have seen alliances back and forth, but unfortunately, excuse me, unfortunately, Sadie Gibbs walked away with the win when she applied a 450 splash on Hausen, and just like that, it was over. Next up, we have another three-way match, but this time it's the men's exhibition. We have Kevin Blackwood versus Starboy Charlie versus Titus Alexander. Now, I know some of you are going to think, obviously, that there's going to be some tensions between Starboard Charlie and Titus Alexander. I mean, yes, I mean, they could be, I mean, they can work together, but of course, there has to be one. In these type of matches, you all know it's every man for themselves. And of course, you wouldn't expect who was going to win. But however, in this common factor, it came out to Kevin Blackwood when he applied a diving foot stomp onto Titus Alexander, walking away with the win. Now, our main event, we have another six-woman tag match. We have Jessica Jackson teaming up with High-End and Riko Kawahara, taking on Miyu Momono, Chikayo Nigashima, and of course the ace of Marvelins, Takumi Iroha. Now, of course, the only factor in this one last time, we did see a bit of the Japan versus international stars. Well, that's not the case in this particular match whatsoever. However, you probably ask yourselves who was going to walk away with the win. I mean, they're all strong individuals, but unfortunately, it was Miyu Momono who walked away with the win when she applied a somewhat of a code red, the same kind that we've seen with the Amazing Red. So she picked up the win with that on high end, and just like that, it was over. So I think that's pretty much it. What we have with this one with Marvelous on November 10th. I believe it's time to do the last and final one, and this one was on November 22nd in Shinkiba. Okay, we continue with more with Marvelous. This one was in Shinkiba on November 22nd of this year. Our first match, once again, we have, of course, Senka Akatsuki taking on this time Miyu Momono. So basically, it's no secret from what we know about Akatsuki how she has handling herself against wrestlers like the ones who are top notch, far more better than her. But however, she in fact could not pick up the win. I mean, she does have a lot of fighting spirit, but she needs to grow up a bit more, learn who she is, what can she use exactly. I mean, she is still a rookie. She has a lot to learn as we go. But unfortunately, she ended up in a wrong side of a Fujiwara armbar by Miyu Momono, and just like that, she had no choice but to tap and ended in that type of fashion. Our next match, we have an interesting men's exhibition match, tag team style. We have Titus Alexander teaming up with Leo Osaka, taking on Kevin Blackwood and Vinny Mysterio. Now, last time these two, this Titus Alexander faced these two is when he teamed up with his Crush Boy tag partner Starboy Charlie, but he was not available for this particular day. But this time he teams up with the only male in Marvelous, Leo himself. But how would this change? I don't know. But I have to say Leo did an amazing job standing toe to toe against Kevin Blackwood. But unfortunately, it was not enough until Kevin Blackwood went on top of the turnbuckle to do another foot stomp right on him, and just like that, it was over. Our next match is another women's six-man tag team match. We have, of course, Yuko Sakurai, who you may all know from Colors. She teams up with Magenta, Maria Enrico Kawahara. But what's interesting is when Magenta do their usual dance, they invited Yuko Sakurai to join the party, which was a lot of fun. I have to say, nothing shameful about it. But however, they have their opponents they're facing. We have Jesse Jackson, and Hyan teaming up once again, but this time their tag partner is none other than Nightshade. Yeah, last time they teamed up with what's her name? With Sadie Gibbs, but she's not here in this particular day. Um you probably would think there's going to be a lot of difference in this one. I mean, we know Magenta are a strong tag team and they will do anything. But unfortunately, this match ended with, of course, Jesse applying a pedigree on Yuko Sakurai, and just like that, one, two, three, it was over. However, during the post match promo, Jesse Jackson just called out Miu. Now, I don't know why she called it out. I don't know exactly what she said. It's like she wants to have a piece of her, to face her. Now, I don't know what Miu Momono was thinking, but the expression, even though I don't understand the language, it seems like Miu Momono was not having, but Chigusa Nagayo is trying to say something like this match has to happen. So basically, that it is. And of course, Rika Kawahara, who is now part of the Marvelous Rods, tried to defend Miu. But we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next match, we have, of course, um, Asuki Aoki. She teams up with Hyan. They take on Shikayo Nagashima and Takumi Iroha. Many of you know this. Those two, Nagashima and Iroha, have teamed up before. They were former tag champions. So you would think that there's going to be a very interesting matchup. It kind of did. Now, don't forget, Aoki does have a win against Iroha in singles competition. But the question does tell, does Lightning strike twice? I mean, she would definitely try to pick up another win against her. But unfortunately, that wasn't happen. It was, of course, Takumi with a somewhat of, like a roll up onto Aoki, and just like that, it was over. But like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if Aoki cash in her opportunity for a shot of the AEW Championship. So we will see what happens until then. So I do know that there is a show that just took place recently on the 1st of December. I never got to see it, but I hope I get a chance to see it. But we'll go from there. But for now, we are now officially done with all the Marvelous events. Let's move on with our main one, which is, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling World Tag League. We are now in day 11, and we're only focusing on A block matches only. Our first match, we have, of course, Tomoaki Hamna and Shota Umino. They take on Bullet Club, and OG Bullet Club as we call them, Chase Owens and Kenta. Now, of course, on every moment you would think Chase Owens and Kenta will definitely try to pick up wins by cheating their way through in every way possible. But however, it was, of course, Kenta who applied a package, Chase Owens who applied a package pile driver in order for them to pick up their next 2 points with a total of six. Now, I highly doubt that these guys are, and I think them, and of course, along with the losing team, they probably are out of the tournament in every way possible. Now, our next match, we have Funky Sauce, Ryusuke Taguchi, and Alex Zane taking on Bullet Club War Dogs, Sonata, and Gabe Kidd. Now, of course, recently we have been seeing their usual, how do I say, they're not getting along type. I mean, Gabe Kidd, he is the type of person who, you know, is trying to prove a point in some capacity, but Sonata's like, I don't give a damn. But however, we did notice later on Sonata applied a low blow on Taguchi. And of course, Ref didn't see it, but this allowed for Sonata to apply the deadfall onto Taguchi, and just like that, they win by winning their immediate 8 points, while leaving Funky Sauce, which is only four. And of course, like usually, Gabe Kidd is not happy with the results of this match, thinking it should have been him. I mean, I don't know why he teamed up with him, but that's his own damn fault. Our next match, we have the United Empire, Cal Newman and Jeff Cobb, taking on, of course, two-time World Tag League winners and former four-time IWGP Tag Team Champions and New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions, Bishamon. So how would this factor in some capacity? I mean, we know that in some ways, if Newman and Cobb were able to defeat Bishamon, they could put themselves in a title contentious conversations because it would be an upset. But however, you know that Goto and Yoshihashi have been a well-established tag team in every way possible. But it was, of course, Newman who ended up on the wrong side of Shoto, and just like that, it was over until Yoshihashi picked up the win by pinning him. Uno, dos, tres. Adios. Now, our next match, we have LIJ's Yota Tsuji versus and Shingo Takagi taking on TMDK's Rohei Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. Now, don't forget, there is history between, of course, Tsuji and Oiwa. I think they were part of the same class. Tsuji ended up going to the UK, while Oiwa actually remained. I think he went to Noah, and that kind of plays out pretty well. However, their long-standing history has always been very, very fascinating. But the real question is, how will this go? I wasn't too sure how this was going to end, but luckily, it was the pumping blaster, a combination that Shingo and Tsuji created together to put away Oiwa, and just like that, it was over. But now, here's the results of that. Because of this win, LIJ remained with 8 points while TMDK 4. So that means they're out. So it seems like only certain wrestlers that remain in 8 points or so, they probably will move on. But we will see what happens in the upcoming events of the World Tag League. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for everything else. I think we are going to move on with our last and final thing, which is, of course, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. Now let's begin with upcoming events from the promotions themselves. Majority of it is mostly with GCW. Now, as you know, this coming Friday we have the event Ransom in Tampa, Florida. A couple of things has been announced for that particular show. The bad boy Joey Janela will take on a member of the Rascals, Zachary Wentz. Rich Swann will take on Jack Cartwheel. John Wayne Murdoch will take on Lindsay Snow. Megan Bain and Effie have been announced that they will be participating. It's still no clear yet who they'll be facing. Now, the following day, on the 7th of December in Atlanta, Georgia, for Mastermind, the Garbage Daddies will take on Teriyaki and Bobby Flaco. Then we have Joey Janela taking on former WWE superstar Jimmy Wang Yang. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Then we have Mr. Danger taking on the Duke of Hardcore, John Wayne Murdoch. Then we have appearances from Man Like the Reese, Megan Bain, Fuego del Sol, and Effie. Now, these four individuals are participating. No yet has been announced who's going to be in what matches. Then, of course, the following week at scene of the crime in Phoenix, Arizona, on the 13th of December, we have Matthew Justice taking on Broski Jimmy, Rich Swann versus Man Like the Reese, Megan Bain versus Dulce Tormenta, and of course they announced Joey Janela, Willie Mack, and Effie being there. Not yet what's going to be there, of course, upcoming matches, what matches they're going to be in, so we'll see. And then on the 31st of December at the Mecca at Ridgeway Park for Till Infinity, four names have been announced who will be participating. We have Megan Bain, Mance Warner, Brandon Kirk, and Matt Tremont. And then, of course, we have on January 10th, 2025, in Rochester, New York, for better known as Brody Lee Country, for Sorry Pal, four names have been announced to participate. We have He's Super and He's Crazy, Super Crazy, Mance Warner, Drew Parker, and Effie. So we will see what matches they'll be in. And then finally, we do have, of course, Prestige Wrestling with Roseland 10 taking place on January 11th of 2025. The Prestige World title will be defended. Alan Angels defends his belt against Mike Santana, and I think that match is going to be a baller. So we will see what happens until then. But for now, let's move on with, of course, some developments. AEW has announced, it's been confirmed, that AEW's final episode of AEW Rampage will take place on December 7th for New Year's Smash at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Now, it's been discussed that they were going to stop doing Rampage's events because of the new AEW Shockwave that they've been announcing. From my information, they will discontinue in 2025, leaving them with 177 episodes. So that's going to be very interesting. Fightful Select reports that Great Khan wants to do a dual contract between AEW and New Japan. However, he said that he only will take the deal if he's giving $13 million. Now, we know AEW does have that kind of money, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure that there's going to be talk. Now, recently you may have heard that Toni Storm has announced her retirement. There was a recent video that come out. Apparently, she is cutting wood. I don't know what she's doing, but she's enjoying retirement. She says she has a torn labia and a stolen dog, but she did her final say: chin down, tits in, and don't bother watching the shoe. So we don't know what's gonna happen from here on out. Congratulations to Tokyo Oshi Pro Wrestling star Pom Harajuku. If many of you don't know, this past weekend she went back to Thailand to deal with Matt Chat, who she dealt with months ago, and this time she faced her for the set up all which one is it? The All Asian Women's Championship, and now she's our brand new champion. I think this is the first time she has ever held a championship, so it's kind of fun to hear that. And finally, for our developments, Kota Ibushi has spoken with Tokyo Sports recently. Many people are probably expecting when he'll be back. Well, he had a chance to talk to them. Let me pull that out real quick for all of you. Here it is. My legs are at their limit, and it could end at any time. I wanted to keep going before I can't do it anymore. I'm really at the limit, but I want to contribute the world of pro wrestling before I end my career. I'm currently repairing various places. AEW will be issuing visas again for next year, but I feel that the Japanese pro wrestling world is somehow declining, so I want to lift it up. That's why I'm doing everything for free this time. Wow, makes sense. So he knows his time is running out. He knows that his body's deteriorating. Remember, he hurt his legs in during a Noah event. So hopefully things will get back for him. And of course, he wants to continue to showcase Japanese wrestling, which I admire. So I think we'll see what happens until then. But for now, we'll end things here and, of course, call it a day. Okay, for our next episode, we probably will have NXT. I haven't decided yet what other events, but however, due to some circumstances, by the time this video is out, um, thing is this: I'm going back to my regular job. I'm not sure exactly how things will be great because as soon as I get off early from work, I have a dental appointment, so I don't know how things will be. So we'll see how things will progress. If I have to do one review, so be it. So we'll see how that will roll out. But for now, that's how we're gonna do. NXT is the top priority, but any other reviews, we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.